Yeah.
So even a bachelor.
All right. Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tech Tuesday, the night that I delve a little bit deeper into some of the technical aspects of nutrition and just some of the ways that it affects us or doesn't affect us, as the case may be, and things that we need to be aware of and be careful of. And we've covered most of the body parts so far. So far this year, we've done obesity, and we've done the heart, and we've done, I can't remember what else we've done. But tonight, we're going to be covering, well, it won't be all of it tonight, but I'm sitting at a start tonight, covering the things that's the window to our body. And that's those things we take for granted. Our eyes and our ears to a certain extent. Because unless you have been blind or deaf to a certain extent, we probably don't understand how important those organs are. Just get something in your eye or get an infection in your eye and have to walk around with one eye closed. And see how often you trip over things. See how often you walk into things. Because your depth perception, we use both eyes in stereo. Just like a radio's got stereo, we've got 2 ears and 2 eyes. And both of them work, I won't say independently, but in stereo together. So if you lose one, it makes life very, very awkward, and you don't realize it until you don't have it. We don't take our eyes quite, I think as I said, we take our eyes very much for granted. And if you are short-sighted or far-sighted and you're needing glasses like some of us do, that can be a bit of a problem at times, because you can't walk on the beach, because then you end up not being able to see anything because everything fogs up. On a hot day, you're in air conditioning, you go outside, I can't see anything because my glasses fog up. I think it's very, very irritating. So our eyes are actually a lot more advanced than what we think. Therefore, we need to take care of them. And we are damaging our eyes in a lot of ways, specifically with all of this screen time now, because we spend a lot of time on computers. We spend a lot of time on cell phones. And all of that affects our eyes. And we don't spend a lot of time outside, which also affects our eyes, because we need to be outside having access to fresh air and sunlight, because all of those things is good for us. So let me share my screen and get going with the homework I prepared recently. It was, pardon the pun, but quite eye-opening for me and quite fun, because I learned a few little things while doing this, which I found very interesting. There we go. Let me just lose this. Okay, so I've titled this, and I've taken my information from a few different sites, some of them universities, some of them Near Life newsletters. So there's a couple of different sites that I've borrowed from. And I've titled it, I Can See Clearly Now. Can you? And this is the importance of eye and ear nutrition. I hadn't ever thought about how important the ears were and how important nutrition was for the ears until I reread one of our newsletters. You go back and you look for it, you will see exactly what I mean. But we're going to start with the eyes. And our eyes are a very important organ in the human body, generating sensory impressions to help us understand the world around us. Think of just looking around, see the blue sky, see the green trees, see the green grass, see the colors of nature. And it's actually quite mind-blowing when you look at all those colors around us. Some age-related eye changes may begin as early as your 30s. Rampant increase in screen time in front of computers or on mobile devices is leading to an increase in dry eye symptoms, once prevalent only in the elderly, now being experienced by 48% of adult Americans. And I think you can probably say adult South Africans too. And scary enough, probably not all adult either, getting younger and younger. Also, as we age, the shape of the eye lens changes and eyes produce fewer tears. There's times when I wish mine would produce even fewer tears as well, because I have fairly sensitive eyes, and it doesn't take much for them to start watering. The lens and cornea become less transparent, and the field of vision shrinks. By the time you're 60, your pupils could decrease to about 1/3 of the size they were when you were 20. That story of, wow, look how big your eyes are. Well, as we get older, it becomes the opposite. In addition to physical deterioration of the eye, age-related eye damage accelerates through the accumulation of oxidative damage over many years. There's that little word again, oxidation. Remember what it means? Rust. If metal oxidizes, it's rusting. We tend to rust as well in a different way. By age 65, nearly 1/3 of adults will experience age-related damage to their eyesight, and over 246 million people in the world have moderate to severe visual impairment. Some scary stats, unless you're an ophthalmologist or an optometrist. Common types of vision loss include glaucoma, cataracts, macular degeneration, and diabetic retinopathy. We've heard stories of diabetics who lose their eyesight and lose their feet, and those who could have, especially if they're type 2 diabetics, could have prevented it. There was one story that Dr. Jim McAfee spoke about, where he'd spoken to a friend who had gone blind because they hadn't had enough vitamin C in their diet and in their body. And they said, if I had have known more about this at a younger age, I probably wouldn't have lost my eyes, and I would probably be able to keep my foot, because he was actually in hospital at the time for an amputation. So this is something that we should not mess around with. The leading cause of age-related central blindness is macular degeneration. And that's where there's this black spot in the middle of your eye. Not those little floaty things that we see around our eyes. That's normal and quite common, but it's a black spot. It's like a flash has gone off. Somebody's taken a photo, a flash has gone off, and you look around and all you see is this black spot. Now, people with macular degeneration have that permanently. I would get very, very irritated if that was mine. Cataracts are also a frequent cause of damage to the lens and can also result in blindness. Fortunately, with today's technology, this can be, I wouldn't say cured, but treated. By the time you are 60, pupils can decrease to about 1/3 the size they were when you were 20. So we're going to have an overview of some of the common eye diseases. Your risk of developing an eye disease increases as you get older. The most common eye diseases include cataracts, which is a condition in which your eyes become clouded. Age-related cataracts are a leading cause of vision impairment and blindness around the world. And in fact, there's a mission crew that sail around the world, and one of their main missions is to do cataract surgery, where they take the cataract out and replace the lens with a new lens. And I know in the hospital that I work in most regularly, our ophthalmologist does between 10 to 12 cataract surgeries every Tuesday. And then the following week, he does the opposite eye. Every week. So that's 10 to 12 people per week that he's seeing. It's quite a scary stat. Diabetic retinopathy is associated with diabetes, obviously, and is a major cause of visual impairment and blindness. Retinopathy develops when high blood sugar levels damage the blood vessels in your retina. Remember, our blood vessels can be the thick veins in your hands or your arms or even your legs, but they also go down to these tiny little blood corpuscles, which are minuscule in size. Now, think about a grain of sugar. If you look at a grain of sugar and you put that into something about half the size of a grain of sugar, you know that there's going to be damage. And that is what causes or leads to the blindness, because when blood supply is cut off, obviously oxygen is cut off and death occurs. No matter where in the body that is, be it your eye, be it your fingers, be it your toes, be it your leg, when there's no oxygen, and even to the brain, when there's no oxygen, that area will die. That's what you've got to be careful of. Dry eye disease is a condition marked by insufficient tear fluid, which causes your eyes to dry up and leads to discomfort and potential visual problems. Remember, your eyes have got water in them pretty much all the time. They are, pardon the grossness, but essentially little balls of jelly that are in the eye socket. And when I was working in the radiotherapy department many years ago, we used to do eye surgery because of cancers and things on the back of the eyeball. And part of the treatment there was introducing radioactive iodine seeds in a gold plaque that was surgically inserted behind the eyeball on top of the tumor to try and shrink it. And I was always fascinated to watch that surgery. Some of the other guys were not quite so fascinated, but I certainly was. And I discovered then how fluid the eye actually is, and also how strong the tissues are around the eye. Glaucoma is another one, and it's a group of diseases that's characterized by progressive degeneration of your optic nerve, which is a very big, thick nerve at the back of the eye, which transfers visual information from the eyes to the brain. And glaucoma may cause poor eyesight or blindness, and sadly, often starts with a poor eyesight and ends up in blindness. And to my knowledge, there is no cure or reverse for it. Macular degeneration. The macula is the central part of your retina. It's the little bit in the middle, the black part. And age-related macular degeneration, otherwise known as AMD, is one of the main causes of blindness in developed countries. Although your risk of getting these conditions depends to some extent on your genes, your diet may also play a major role. And I would say your lifestyle as well. So people who work in very dusty areas, in very dry areas, in quite extreme areas, on one of the apps that I watch, what is this thing? Instagram. There's a particular page that I follow over there called Medical Talks. And if you want to have nightmares, you can have a look at some of the pictures over there, because a lot of them are sort of blocked out and you open at your own discretion. But the pictures of fish hooks that get removed and various other things that go in, and people who work with tools and things, like heavy machinery, if they don't wear protective goggles, can often pick up things like sparks or bits of metal or various foreign objects that shoot into the eye. And dependent on where and how, that can lead to almost instant blindness. So take your eyes seriously. Eye benefits of vitamins and micronutrients, and we all know about why we need to take vitamins and minerals and all these things, but do we really think about the little bits and how important they are? We know that we need to take vitamins and minerals to have energy and to keep our heart going and to help our joints, but we forget about those little things like your eyes and your ears. Following vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients have been shown to be essential for good vision and may protect your eyes from sight-robbing conditions and diseases. Incorporating the following foods in your diet will help you get the recommended daily allowance, or RDA, of these important eye nutrients. Obviously, a good, healthy, balanced diet is always the key starting point. But if you are not getting those nutrients from your diet, please supplement. And when supplementing, don't use the cheapest thing on the shelf. Look for food sourced supplements. They are your best source and best value for money. Supplements can become a very expensive pastime or an extremely valuable investment. And established by the Institute of Medicine or National Academy of Sciences, the RDA is the average daily dietary intake level of a nutrient sufficient to meet the requirements of nearly all healthy individuals in a specific life stage and gender group. While the RDA is a useful reference, some eye care practitioners recommend higher daily intakes of certain nutrients for people at risk for eye problems, like diabetics. In the following list, you'll see different dosages. So mg is milligram, mcg is microgram or 1,000th of a milligram, and IU is known as an international unit. So the first one we're going to start with is beta-carotene. Remember, there's a couple of different carotenes. There's alpha, there's beta, there's gamma. There's quite a few, but we're going to focus on the beta. And the eye benefits of beta-carotene are when taken in combination with zinc and vitamin C and E, beta-carotene may reduce the progression of macular degeneration. Now, which of our Neolife products have got beta-carotene, zinc, C, and E? Ever heard of Betagard? Food sources include things like carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, kale, and butternut squash. I don't know about you, but I don't get these food sources on a daily basis. Do you? The RDA, there's none, as most supplements contain 5,000 to 25,000 IU. The next thing is bioflavonoids, or just plain flavonoids. And these may protect against cataracts and macular degeneration, because remember, flavonoids are water-soluble antioxidants. We've heard about the oxidation, and you get fat-soluble and you get water-soluble. Flavonoids are water-soluble antioxidants, and they work on the watery parts of the body, namely your eyes, your tear ducts, your lungs, your mouth, and your nasal passages. And you'll find these in things like tea, red wine, citrus fruits, bilberries, blueberries, cherries, legumes, and soy products. Again, how many of these are you getting on a daily basis? There is no known RDA on these. The next thing are a couple of carotenoids, the two main ones being lutein and zeaxanthin. Please don't stress about the fancy names. Just know that they are carotenoids, which are your fat-soluble antioxidants. And the benefits of these are that they may prevent cataracts as well as macular degeneration. Again, no known RDA. And lutein and zeaxanthin are the yellow carotenoid antioxidants known as macular pigments and found in quite large doses in your eyes. They are concentrated in the macula, which is the central part of your retina, which is a layer of light-sensitive cells in the back wall of your eyeball. So inside that black spot in the middle of your eye. Lutein and zeaxanthin function as a natural sunblock. Which came first, these carotenoids or Polaroid sunglasses? They're thought to play a central role in protecting your eyes against harmful blue light. And blue light is what emanates from screens like laptops, pads, and cell phones. and TVs to a certain extent as well. Controlled studies show that intake of lutein and zeaxanthin is proportional to their levels in your retina. One observational study in middle-aged and older adults noted that consuming 6 milligrams of lutein and or zeaxanthin per day significantly reduced the risk of AMD. The researchers also discovered that those with the highest intake of lutein and zeaxanthin had a 43% lower risk of macular degeneration compared to those with the lowest intake. So maybe you need to check your carotenoid levels. Lutein and zeaxanthin usually occur together in foods such as spinach, Swiss chard, kale, parsley, pistachios, and green peas. And these are just some of the best sources. What's more, egg yolks, sweet corn, and red grapes may also be high in lutein and zeaxanthin. In fact, egg yolks are considered one of the best sources due to their high fat content. Remember, because they're carotenoids, they are fat soluble. Carotenoids are better absorbed when eaten with fat, so it's best to add some avocado or healthy oils to your leafy vegetable salad. And the next one is one of my favorites, which is omega-3 fatty acids. The long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, don't ask me to tell you exactly what those letters stand for, are very important for eye health. DHA is found in high amounts in your retina, where it may help maintain eye function. It's also important for brain and eye development during infancy. Thus, DHA deficiency can impair vision, especially in children, which is why it is so vitally important for pregnant moms to be taking omegas from before they fall pregnant until way after they have finished breastfeeding, and then after that to give their children omega-3 supplements to keep their eyes healthy and to keep their brains healthy at the very least. Evidence also shows that taking omega-3 supplements may benefit those with dry eye disease. One study in people with dry eyes revealed that taking EPA and DHA supplements daily for 3 months significantly reduced dry eye symptoms by increasing the formation of tear fluid. Obviously, we know that omega-3 is good for a lot of other things, but did you know this? This was news to me. Omega-3 fatty acids may also help to prevent other eye diseases. And I must say, since I've been taking consistently 2 carotenoids and 2 omega-3s on a daily basis for a good few years now, I'm now at the stage where I wear my glasses less than what I ever did before. Because by rights, I should be wearing my glasses to do this presentation, but I don't have to get up close and personal to have a look at my words because I can see them, maybe not always clearly, but I can see clearly enough to be able to read my screen. And I even go and do my run now without glasses on because I find I can see just as well without them than I can with my glasses on. And also, the last time I had my eyes tested, which I think was last year, and that was about 7 years from the previous time I'd been to have my eyes tested, my prescription had not changed at all. A study in middle-aged and older adults with diabetes found that taking at least 500 milligrams of long-chain omega-3s daily may reduce the risk of diabetic retinopathy. In contrast, the omega-3 fatty acids are not an effective treatment for AMD, but there your carotenoids kick in. So this is why you can't just take a single supplement. You've got to mix and match because we don't eat a single food item. We have a plate of variety, at least you should have. Food sources for omega-3s are cold water fish, such as salmon, mackerel, and herring, and obviously fish oil supplements, freshly ground flax seeds, and walnuts. Remember, though, that plant-based omega-3s are not as potent as fish sourced, and your best source of salmon, or the best fish to get your salmon from, or at least your omegas from, is cold water. So the colder the water the fish is in, the better the quality of the omega-3. And it should be cold pressed from the flesh, not from the internal organs. Because if you take the entire fish and give it a squeeze, you're getting a lot of toxins from the liver as well as the gut and everything else. What you're looking for is cold pressed omegas sourced from the flesh of the fish, and make sure that those fish and the supplements have been tested for as many known contaminants as possible, ideally with a detectable rate of 0. If it does not tell you this on the label of your supplement bottle, please investigate the company that supplies it, and if necessary, send them an email and ask them, where do they get their omegas from? Which fish do they use? And what tests have they done on those fish to ensure that you are not getting any heavy metals and other toxins? Selenium is another thing, and they benefit the eyes when combined with carotenoids and vitamins C and E, and this may reduce the risk of advanced AMD. And you'll find selenium in things like seafood, so shrimp, crab, salmon, halibut, Brazil nuts, enriched noodles, and brown rice. Be careful of most foods that are enriched, because it normally means that they've taken out a lot of the natural ingredients and enriched them with synthetic ingredients instead. The RDA for selenium is 55 micrograms for teens and adults, but 60 micrograms for women during pregnancy and 70 micrograms when breastfeeding, because obviously that little baby is a sucker, and they're taking all the nutrients that they need from their best bang source, which just happens to be mom. So if mom is not getting sufficient nutrients from her diet, she is in fact losing to her baby. Got a couple more minutes. So the other one is vitamin A. And I think most of us are aware that vitamin A is very good for the eyes. And vitamin A deficiency is one of the most common causes of blindness in the world. This vitamin is essential for maintaining your eyes' light-sensing cells, also known as photoreceptors. And this is why some people are night blind. If you don't consume enough vitamin A, you may experience night blindness, dry eyes, or even more serious conditions, depending on the severity of your deficiency. Vitamin A is only found in animal-derived products. The richest dietary sources include liver, egg yolks, and dairy products. Therefore, vegetarians, or some vegetarians, and vegans are going to be seriously deprived of vitamin A and are going to have problems. However, you can also get vitamin A from antioxidant plant compounds called provitamin A carotenoids, found in high amounts in some fruits and vegetables. So they will get some, but they're losing out on the better sources. Provitamin A carotenoids provide around 30% of people's vitamin A requirements on average. Therefore, vegans are losing out on about 70% of their vitamin A. The most efficient of them is beta-carotene, which is found in high amounts in kale, spinach, and carrots. But we know that there are a lot more than just one carotenoid, the beta-carotene. There's a whole mess of them. I think I'm under correction, but I think in excess of 600 carotenoids. I think I'm going to stop right there because we've got about 5 minutes left, and I would like to make time for any questions that there might be. See, the one question is why dark glasses or no. Partly because dark glasses will filter out the UV light, which is what is some of the things that is good for the eyes, because we need that in our eyes. Too much obviously direct sunlight obviously can cause damage, but we need sufficient. Remember, what came first? Carotenoids or sunglasses? Carotenoids have been around a lot longer than sunglasses. Sunglasses were first used by Hollywood stars to protect their eyes from the arc lights on the studio set, not from sunlight. And most sunglasses are more fashion accessories than they are protective, in my opinion.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay.
Sean, when we were doing leadership with the youth, the young people at Acres, we had to take the dark glasses away from them and leave them in the locked up cupboard. So yeah, apparently it's also got something to do with, because you've got your sunglasses on, you're not that natural sunburn thing that you're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah, they get more sunburnt if they got dark glasses on.
They do, because it allows the UVB light through, not the UVA.
Mm.
And we need the UVA.
Thanks, Sean. Sean, with your vast knowledge and your aptitude to research things, there's some sort of disease. It's like a tiny little mite. I don't know where it comes from, but it actually goes into your eyelashes, and it starts crusting up, and it causes irritation on your actual eyeball. Have you ever heard of this, or do you know what could actually cure that?
Yes, I have heard of it, and it's quite a difficult thing. We do, scarily enough, if you get a microscope going around your eyes, there's quite a lot of gunk around there that usually, and this is where having tears comes in, because the tears are actually like the piddler bottles on your car when you've got a dirty windscreen, and you pull the wiper handle and you clean your windscreen that way. This is what our tears are doing. So people with dry eyes don't have the chance of flushing those little mites and things away. And if your immune system isn't strong, then the mites can overtake, and they can get in there and cause a lot of problems with, as you said, that muck around the eyes, and which can then lead to infections, and worst case scenario can actually lead to blindness. So if that is the case, my suggestion would be to obviously see a doctor and get something to clean your eyes carefully and cleanly with it, to get rid of those things, and then to boost the immune system to strengthen your eyes to be able to flush those out again safely. Because usually they tend to take over if your immune system is low, just like any other parasite.
Sean is taking carotenoids as antioxidants will help prevent cataracts, for instance.
Correct.
Cataracts basically caused by oxidation of the cells.
Yes. It's also an age-related thing, but yeah, it can hit at any age. Some people have cataracts at a younger age than others, but it is oxidation.
Yeah, I just want to say quickly that my prescription for my glasses, since I've been taking carotenoids and of course omegas and the rest, have never changed over the last, I would say 15, could be nearly 20 years. It's never changed.
I've got exactly the same story.
Yeah.
Jenny, you must unmute. Jenny, unmute.
Any age?
Thank you. Sorry, what did Debbie say?
No.
Jenny Holiday is trying to talk.
Yeah.
And she's muted.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
No.
Can't hear
Okay.
you.
All right, Jenny, you can send me a message later and I'll answer it for you. You can WhatsApp me, but we're about to run out of time. So I'm going to stop this recording now.